Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I don't think this is going to be a very long one today. Yesterday's trip to Burnhams went smoothly, no hassles, we like that. I arrived early to pick Lynn up and she arrived within a couple of minutes of me getting there, so we set off a little bit earlier than planned, but no worries. We got to our breakfast place and that was a delight as always. Service is fast, very polite, efficient. You get what you ask for quickly. So you go in, they come almost straight up to you, ask if you're ready to order, do you want any drinks, and you get your breakfast. Anyway, as you'd expect, but not all places do things that well. And the coffee is just, out of this world. 10 times better than this cobbler's. Out of a jar. So we set off from there, got to Burnham's, met up with, those of you that have been around on YouTube a long time will remember a young lad called Archie, very fair hair, and used to grow bulbophyllums. Had hassles with electrics and that in a greenhouse and ended up packing in orchids for a while and stopped his YouTube channel and everything. He was there, and so I had a chat with Archie. And several people came up and said hello, thanks for that, you're most welcome. And we had a nice time at Burnham's. I filmed some of the displays, the Orchid Society displays. I didn't film much of the Burnham's nursery, because a lot of it this time of year is a sea of green basically. And the sales area is like same old, rows of phalaenopsis and stuff. It's the same sort of stuff. Watch the last visit if you want to see that. But I have got some clips to put together, which will probably be tomorrow, or possibly Tuesday, I don't know. I do have a hassle tomorrow. My car's booked in for its MOT, and this could take up an awful lot of the day. Obviously getting it there, they've said get it to us for about 9:30. Well, it's 10 minutes up the road in the car, then I've got to come home, which means getting a bus, and Monday is market day. So normally I would, I'll have to look up the bus route because the high street's closed for the market, which is where all the bus stops are. So I don't know where I've got to get my bus to get back to here. I don't have to pay for the bus, I've got a pass because I'm ancient, so you get a free bus pass. But it's the times, they're only like once an hour, or maybe once every half hour on a weekday, I'm not sure. But they're not, they don't turn up as soon as you get to the bus stop, so I may have a bit of waiting around to do. That gets me back here, which is fine, but then at some point I'm hopefully going to be told my car's ready to collect and it's passed, or I'll be given a list of things that have got to be fixed and when they can do it, which might mean the car will have to stay there and I'll be without a car for a couple of days. This is all unpredictable, so we'll have to wait and see. But it's an upheaval, not having that car just outside so that you can go and jump in it and do what, whatever you plan and everything. It niggles at you. You sort of think, well, what if something comes up and I've got no car, that sort of thing. So that's tomorrow. Next weekend I have nothing booked at the moment, nothing to do. And then the following weekend is a Wessex AGM. I've got to produce a report for that, Treasurer's report. And the weekend after that is Malvern. I'll be off to Malvern on the Friday. So that's a long day, but the drive to Malvern, the first bit it's quite nice, but it's a route I know backwards. The route from here to Swindon, I used to live in Swindon and my family and some of my friends were down here, so that route, I just, old hat sort of thing. Once I get the other side of Swindon, that part to Malvern it's almost like new ground, because I only do it once a year, maybe twice. And the scenery is lovely, and this time of year all the grass verges along the dual carriageways will have orchids growing up, so we can play spot the orchids as I drive along. So planning to get there sort of first thing, try and get there for 10 o'clock or thereabouts when it opens. That can't go any earlier. and spend the day there and then drive back the same day. So it's a long day, but it's not a hassle day, if you know what I mean. So it'll be nice. I'm looking forward to that. And then there isn't anything then until the Orchid Society shows at the end, towards the end of the year. So there'll be a long gap with no orchid events. Now in here, I made this decision talking to Lynn yesterday, not about what I'm going to tell you. I've got some of my long-term dendrobiums here that are failing, and I don't know why. And my solution, I just made a snap decision yesterday. I'm going to take them off their mounts and put them in a pot with quite a bit of moss to try and encourage some growth, because they're not growing, they're just sitting there. And one of those is my Friedrichianum Hanna, the awarded plant. If I lose that, it's gone forever. That plant then doesn't exist in this world anymore, because it's the only one. My Hercoglossam's not growing. So there's some plants I'm just going to take off their mounts and put them in a pot with the, associated sphagnum moss. I've got a feeling that quite a few of these dendrobiums are not growing because of the live moss I used, which, because they're drier in winter, the moss has died. And I think that's taking the plants down. So they need to come off their mounts, and there's quite a few of them. So there's a bit of work to do there. And I mean, if you take, there's a new plant here, I haven't had this plant long. This was planted with live moss, and it started to grow roots. The roots have stopped growing and the moss is dead. And all the other roots that were on there look quite shriveled. So I think it's the moss. I think they're trying to use this native live moss has not been successful because of the drying winter bit, which does make sense. See, if you use the zombie moss like we did for the kikis, this starts off dead. Well, if it's dead, it can't die, can it? This is it. This is how it works. And I've got little root buds growing here that have started since this was done. They weren't there then, they are now. So already this is bringing root growth back on these kikis. So I think we've got a bit of work to do there. I've been a bit slack with that sort of thing. So that's that. We've had a family disaster, which I'm not going to go into, but it will mean, well, put it bluntly, it will mean another funeral. I'll go into it perhaps one day, but not at the moment. And I went to Burnham's yesterday, and as always, you can't come home without a plant, can you? So we've got 3 plants, one of which is very, very silly, because when I got it home, I went to update my notes and I thought, you idiot, you've already got that. So I've bought a second one of something. It is actually an awarded version of that plant, so it's not exactly the same, shall we say. And I thought, oh, you idiot, and it wasn't cheap either. It was the only one they had that was actually in bloom, so you can see the blooms. And then I bought another one that I just liked the colour, and it bumps up a genus that I've always had one of. Recently I've got quite a few of, and now I've got another one. And it's in bloom, it's got nice blooms on it, so it won't be going outside until the blooms are finished, but it will go outside with the others. That gives you a clue. And then we have something that is odd, and rather than even try and tease you into explaining it, but it involves somebody else unknown. Yeah, I'll have to show you. But we had like a ceremony. Lynn and I we'd just gone in to see if we wanted a coffee or something like that. And we had a ceremony, a presentation. I thought, what on earth's going on now? I'll explain later. So as I said, I don't want this to be too long today. I want to get it out of the way. So I can't see any new blooms open. I'm desperately looking at that black hair type with it's got 2 canes, one's got 4 buds and one's got 5 buds, and the blooms are huge. If you remember in Fundibulum that was here with the white blooms with the gold lip for a very long time, the blooms are that size. One cane's got 5 of them. They're all going to be squashed up together. This Shari baby, I've just noticed there's a spike coming out on that. There's a spike on one of the other Oncidium types. I've moved them. It dawned on me that the Oncidium types that were sat on this shelf last year suffered from light burn. Now they were Miltonias, which, you know, they like good light but not that bright. But the ones that were up on here before I moved them, some of those were Odont types supposed to have highlight. So I've taken them away from this bright light area and moved them down away from the roof. So I've shuffled some things around now. But yeah, there's not a lot. There's a couple of things that really ought to be getting some spikes, looking at the size of the new growth, and they're not doing it yet. Well, we shall see. But yeah, we do have a few new blooms to come. And quite honestly, when we had a look at the what's growing and what's not a while back, people seem to like that idea, so that's good. We'll do that again. Obviously not with the same plants. But it became obvious at that point that all my Masdevallias are actually growing now. Where you start getting new growths on Masdevallias, you're highly likely to get some blooms down the line. So we could be getting some Masdevallia blooms. I can't see any spikes yet, but then I don't go digging around on those. I wait for the spikes to stick up in the air and I think, oh, rather than go digging around, if you know what I mean. Right, so I'll break off and move the camera, and we'll have I don't need to break off. I'll just move the camera. And you'll all have to get seasick, won't you? On the move. Somewhere like that. There's my screen. And it's an unbagging ceremony rather than an unboxing ceremony. It's everything's in a bag. So we will start digging them out. First one I'm going to dig out is the mistake. In other words, the one I shouldn't have got because I've already got it. But as I said, it is an awarded plant. The girls on the till, the youngsters, they don't understand. One of them did, because one of them was involved with this oddity that we've got to deal with in a minute. And she knew what was going on. She had a big grin on her face. So one of them that I didn't want to do the pressure, you know, out in the back room, you know, with the water drips and all that. I thought, well, let it go. And I thought I might even be able to work it out for myself. But anyway, so that's this plant. This is the one that's a sort of repeat, but not quite. But they do find it odd when I've got a box with my plants in that I want them wrapped up rather than just put the box in the car. And I tried to explain, I said, I can't unwrap them if they're not wrapped up, can I? And they sort of look at you a bit blank. Arthur knows what I'm up to. You can't do an unwrapping video if everything's not wrapped up. Right, so what this is Coleogyne Moriana variety magnifica, which has got an FCC from the RHS. So it's an awarded plant. I don't know who got that award, whether it was actually Burnham's or not, but it was the only one that was in bloom, and looking at the ones they had for sale at that price, it was actually probably the best plant as well. So what we've got here is we've got this growth here is a new growth. That's the one with the blooms on. Blooms are gorgeous. Large, it comes into the class of the large white Coleogynes, and a lovely coloured lip, gorgeous. And then on top of that growth with the blooms is another one round here that probably won't bloom, but it will bump the size of the plant up. And the oldest part of the plant has got slightly wrinkled pseudobulbs, but if you look at the latest bulbs, they are nice big plump bulbs. And this is the style of Coleogyne that grows a shoot, pushes the spike out the top of the shoot with the bud with the blooms on, and then the leaves follow on and the bulb is formed after the blooms have gone. So this should plump up and be a nice big bulb, as should that one. And who knows, there might be some more to come. In fact, there looks like there's an eye down there, so possibly another new growth. So that's that one, and a sort of semi-duplicate. The other one I've got, the Moriana, is just the ordinary species. This is the awarded one, which means it's more vigorous, the blooms are larger and more uniformly formed, you know, spacing between petals and sepals and all that sort of stuff. Oh. Otherwise it wouldn't have got the award if it was just the ordinary species, would it? I'm going to put the tag back in there. Oh. Right, now the next one, which with the little bit of talk that I did, you should have guessed what I've got here. Crikey, that's heavy. That's where the last one in. Right, so what we've got here is another Cymbidium, but it's not a giant, it's not a miniature, it's in between. And there was quite a lot of these for sale, I must admit, and I just saw the colour from a distance and thought, actually I like that. And you remember I said about filling the colours in? I've got bright yellow, I've got pink, I've got deep red. What else have I got? Oh, I've got the miniature and we've got the copper one. Yeah? So colours. So what colour haven't I got that you can get with Cymbidiums? 2. And this is one of them, and the other one I haven't got yet. So what we've got is sort of green. It isn't bright green, it's sort of green. And I like it a lot. So that's what we've got, Cymbidium. I don't think it might have a name actually. Yes it has. Believe it or not, it's Cymbidium tiger tail. I've got an Oncidium tiger tail I think. Well now we've got a Cymbidium tiger tail. But I just liked the colour. Yeah? Now it's got 2 spikes on it. And I had a look through all the plants. And this was the only one with 3 new growths coming. Like this. So there's one there. There's one round the back of that bulb. And then there is another one where? There's 2 together there. So this has got 3 new growths to come, so in theory that's 3 spikes for next year. So far there might be more. And I'm not going to take this out of its pot. I will lift it out of its pot when the blooms are gone to see what's in the pot. And if that media looks bad and breaking down, because Sarah would have bought these in. These, I don't believe these have been grown in the nursery. These have been bought in to be in bloom and put on a good show for the Orchid Festival. So, but take a good look at the colours on here, because there's more than meets the eye here. Because you've got the greenish colour, but when you start looking inside, look at that delicate pink on the lip. And that pink goes with that green. And then the very edges of the petals and sepals have got like a tinge to them. So I like that. I like that a lot. Right, now this last one. I need some coffee to talk about this one. I'll show you what I was presented with. So this plant was ceremoniously brought out by Sarah and one of the assistants and handed to me like this. So that's what I got handed. somebody's got a very strange sense of humour, and I couldn't work this out. What on earth have I ever done to upset somebody enough to send me a plant as revenge? And then I looked at what it was. How good's your memory? That's Miltonia flavescens. I had one of these for years and I never ever got it to bloom. Logically, it went to somebody else. Yeah? So either that person's got me another one as some sort of revenge for giving them a plant that won't bloom, or possibly somebody had one of my other plants at some point and can't get that to bloom. And knowing that I can't get this to bloom, got me one of these. So this was organised through Sarah, or through one of the assistants I believe, at Burnham's to come to me. So we've got two problems here. First of all, it's one that I never managed to bloom. Sarah grows these. There are lots of these in the nursery area, and at the right time of year they're all in flower. And I'm thinking, what have you got here that's different to me, that you get them to bloom and I don't? And I never found out. But the initial problem we've got here is the two nice new growths on there are over the side of the pot. Now they haven't grown their roots yet, but they will soon. So I'm going to have to deal with that straight away. There's also another new growth back here. So we've got a new growth here, plus the two ones that are pushing on. Now this plant is big enough with that back bulb, and those two leafless ones for either of these to actually bloom. There's no sign of a spike yet. So we will have to wait and see. But I will have to get that out of the pot and deal with it, or we will have roots over the side, and that's not good for a Miltonia. So we have an anonymous person with a semi-warped sense of humour. The revenge of the Sith. Anyway, I have a Miltonia flavescens that in essence was a gift. So thank you very much for the plant. I'm not sure I want to say thank you for the sentiments, but the person is anonymous at the moment. They may want to own up in the comments or via email. Anyway, so that was the third plant. Yeah, a good time was had by all. I will put the clips together in one or two videos. As I say, I think I'll I won't put too much of it. Didn't film much in the actual nursery. Most of the filming was the actual displays, which were very nice. One display didn't get filmed because I don't film that Orchid Society. But the others were filmed with their plaques, so you'd be able to work out which one was which. I think it was Devon, Cornwall and South West were the three I filmed. And there were some lovely plants on those displays. When I put the videos up, look out for the white Masdevallia that must have about 30 blooms on it. Absolutely stunning. So, oh, and also if you keep your eye out, my Mexicoa that I haven't got to bloom yet, you'll see some of the blooms in. There's one was in one of the displays, and also there was one in flower in the Orchid Paradise clip where the specimen plants are. Also look out for the brassicas, the specimen sized brassicas in the around the pond basically. Absolutely enormous. But those are in the videos to come, so we shall get those out either Monday or Tuesday. But as I said, Monday's a funny day because I don't know where I'm going to be. I mean, if I take the car around there at 9:30, that MOT might be done by 10:30 and I get a phone call saying your car's ready. I've got to go and get another bus to go in and get it, sort of thing. But, you know, I might not get that phone call till the end of the day, and I might not be able to get there to pick it up before they close because of the timings on the buses, if you see what I mean. So I might end up having to do that on Tuesday morning. And if it needs work done, you might have to wait for parts. So, you know, it's all a bit up in the air at the moment. But I booked it in tomorrow so that it didn't interfere with this weekend, so that we could at least get our Burnham stuff done. If I'd booked it in back sometime last week and their needed work had to be done and they were waiting on parts and it was in bits or something, I wouldn't have a car for the weekend. So that's why that was done. And yeah, that'll do for today. Thanks for all my supporters in whatever shape or form. Treading on Hurricane Hector. Oh, coffee. Yes, you know, thanks to the patrons that are hanging in there, thanks to the members of the channel, and thanks for the odd buy me a coffee, it all helps. And more than anything, I suppose, the general support that's daily, you know, rather than sort of a monthly thing or something. The comments and the likes, the old thumbs up on a day-to-day basis, you know, with the videos and things like that. It all keeps the channel ticking over and growing slowly. We should hit 14,000 subscribers soon. I mean, when you see the channel, it'll say 13.9. Well, it says 0.9 until it goes to 14. So, you know, even if it was 13,999, it will still say 0.9. But it is getting up there. I think it's up to about 970, I think it is. So there's only about 30 subscriptions to get us to tick over the 14,000, which is it's not a sort of big giveaway or anything like that. It's not a milestone number, but it's just nice to tick off another major number, another major thousand. So growing slowly but surely. So again, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, it'd be awfully nice if you did so. And as I always say, because I put a video up virtually every day, sometimes more than one, shorter ones, you don't necessarily need to turn notifications on. Just come and have a look. You'll probably find a new one. Saves getting pestered, if you know what I mean. I mean, some people just turn the global notifications on, so whoever they're subscribed to, they're automatically got the notifications. But I don't. I go onto a subscriptions page and anything that's new is there and I can choose what I want to watch. That's the way I do it. So up to you. So there we go. And in addition to that, sometime next week we should be getting a box from Carol with some more plants for the garden. And again, I will probably, certainly by then I won't be worried about my back, because yesterday, a few twinges here and there, but I sort of got away with it, and today everything appears fine, so it's sort of recovered from the bit of gardening I did. So when those plants come, I will probably get them planted straight away. We've got a week that looks like it's going to be dry all week at the moment, which puts a bit of a workload on me, because all the new stuff in the garden plus the bonsai are having to be watered regularly now because we're not getting any rain and the sun is getting hot. So yeah. There we go, and I shall see you next time. I say the next video will be some of the clips from Burnham, so it's lots of pretty blooms. You can play spot the ones I've never seen before and spot the ones I can actually name. All good fun. Because don't ask me for the names because I won't know. Because you know, unless the camera happened to catch the tag, then I'm not going to know what plants were there. I didn't have time to go around looking at all the names. Too busy chatting to people. Right, thanks for dropping by. See you next time, and thanks for supporting the channel. It's all good stuff. Wonderful. Bye for now.